All right, so anyway, I'm Keith with Inspire Personal Fitness, and I love giving out information and sharing a little knowledge, so I appreciate everybody, giving me the opportunity to be out here today. So just so you know a little bit, Inspire Personal Fitness, we kind of work with a very specific group of people. We work with people who are trying to lose weight, reduce body fat, and live a healthier life. So in other words, we're not working necessarily with people who are trying to increase their athletic performance or bodybuilders or whatever. We have a very specific group of people we want to work with, and so we design our programs around that. And so what we're talking about today is how you want to structure an exercise program if you're trying to lose body fat. So, if you're trying to go run a half marathon, this may not be the program for you. So I want everybody to understand that as far as when I'm going through this, because you might be like, well, I want to be a bodybuilder, so why would this work for me? No, it won't. So just understand that. So we're going to jump right into it. So we have what we call our hierarchy of exercises. This is kind of from most important to least important, and I'm going to run through that a little bit. So the first one is circuit weight training. And what I mean by that, that's going to be what other people might call strength training, right? And we're going to actually go into that a little bit further here in just a minute, but just so you know real quickly, it's got 3 different benefits. One, it boosts your metabolism, which is always a good thing when you're trying to lose weight. It builds muscle, which is also a very good thing when you're trying to lose weight, which I'll explain in a moment. And it, of course, burns calories. So you get 3 benefits out of that. Interval cardio, let's think about, if you're doing, on a treadmill and it's got a little interval program and you're going, a minute of work with a 30-second rest and going back and forth, that would be interval training. It's got 2 benefits. It does boost your metabolism slightly. It's not as much as with strength training, but it will boost your metabolism. And of course, it burns calories. Steady state cardio, that's when you're reading your magazine on the treadmill at the gym. Anyway, 1 benefit, burns calories. That's really all it's going to do for you. Lifestyle activities, if you lead an active lifestyle, they can be very helpful. I mean, if you're out hiking or if you like walking or biking or whatever it might be, those are wonderful things to include into the program, and I'll show you how that fits in. When we're talking about, though, say weight training versus steady state cardio, you got, again, 3 benefits versus 1 benefit, and I'm using running here as an example. Is anybody in here a runner? Does anybody in here run? So you may or may not like this example, but we'll just throw it out there anyway. The truth is, the idea behind running is to become a more efficient runner. That's really what you're trying to accomplish by running. So if you think back in the day of the first time you ever ran a mile, you probably thought you were going to die, But you did probably burn a ton of calories and you got a metabolic boost out of it because your body was so new to you. But you know what? The 20th time you ran a mile, it was probably really easy. So your body adapts to it very quickly. Again, whereas with weight training, when you're building lean muscle, you're constantly bumping up your metabolism, you're constantly challenging your body, it's always changing, you can always change the way it looks and it feels, and so you're always, getting a different calorie burn, a different metabolic response. So it's vastly superior to something like running for what we try to do. So a little bit more about strength training, since I'm talking about that so much anyway. This is just kind of a general overview of how you're going to do a strength training program. You do 1 to 3 sets of an exercise, somewhere between 5 and 12 reps, and at Inspire, we're going to change those reps up all the time because, again, we're trying to kind of shock the body and try to give it something new to think about every day. 8 to 10 exercises for the total program. Again, in a circuit style, which you'll see when I show the example of a workout, what that kind of means. But again, you're going to do more than 1 exercise in a row. You don't just do an exercise and then stand around for 3 minutes and then do it again. It's going to be other things going on there. Mostly compound movements. Some of you may know what that means, some of you don't. Essentially, that just means exercises that use a lot of different muscle groups at once. A squat would be an example, a deadlift, push-ups, pull-ups, anything where you're using more than 1 muscle group at once. We're not talking about tricep press downs, right, for all day long, right? 3 times a week is always ideal. That's the way, actually, it's a lot of studies have shown once we pass about the age of 45, if you're not strength training 3 times a week, it's very hard to build muscle. So it's hard to do it in once a week or twice a week. And then intensity, and that's of course what we handle at Inspire. We're going to make sure you're pushing at your level, right? Whatever that means. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be working out as hard as Venus Williams, you know, right? Because maybe you're not there yet, but we're going to make sure you're working at your capacity. So here's a sample workout, and those of you who are actually members of my gym, you're probably looking at it and going, oh God, that's what we're doing tomorrow, isn't it? It's not, I promise you. What you're doing tomorrow is way worse, so don't worry about it. But this is for everybody else, just to kind of understand. This is how we're gonna put together a workout. You've got your circuit one, you've got squats, you've got one arm rows, and you have a plank. So one thing that's really important to look at here is we've got a lower body exercise, an upper body exercise, and a core exercise. The whole idea is you do your squats, and then while your legs are recovering from that, you're going and doing one arm rows. So your heart is still working, it's still beating, we're keeping the heart rate up, and then you go straight from that into a plank, right? And maybe you know what those exercises are, what maybe you don't, but again, that's the kind of things we'll teach you at Inspire. Second circuit, you got push-ups, another upper body, lunges, lower body, and then a side plank. Excuse me, so another thing. And then you go through that 3 times each, and then we move on to what we love and we like to call finishers. Everybody at the gym loves our finishers. They just love them. Because at the end of the workout, we're like, but wait, there's more. That's what we always try to say. This one is just a very simple interval. It's called a Tabata. And that literally just means you're working for 20 seconds, you're resting for 10 seconds, you're gonna do 8 total rounds of something, whether it's jumping rope, biking, jumping jacks, you know, it could be anything. So it's named Tabata because the person who created that interval, his last name was Tabata. So there you go. It's not Ciabatta. It's not like a dessert or anything like that. But anyway, we try to work through the circuit with little or no rest. Then once you finish the circuit, you're gonna rest maybe a minute. And again, that's gonna vary individually. Obviously, if somebody needs rest during a circuit, we're gonna give them that rest. But again, that's just kind of a sample workout of what we might do to create weight loss. So here's the prescription, and this is what was talked about in the email as far as, you know, I know we're all busy professionals. You can't be at the gym 2 hours a day, 6-7 days a week. We get that, and we understand that. So what we want to try to do is make our workouts as effective as possible, which is why we do full body workouts pretty much every time you come into the gym. You know, in that way we can be the most effective and get the most results we can get. So here's the thing, again, we're all busy, and probably people think, well, I don't have time to exercise, you know, I can't go 6 days a week, so I'm just not gonna go. You don't have to go 6 days a week. Right here is your blueprint. This is what you need to know. 1.5 to 3 hours a week. If you can dedicate an hour and a half, 90 minutes, you know, is that right? Yeah, 90 minutes to 3 hours a week, focus on the weight training. Focus on those kind of workouts that I just showed you an example of. 2 or 3 times a week, right? If you've got 3 to 5 hours a week you can dedicate to exercise, throw in the interval cardio. We do what we call fit classes, and that's gonna be intervals. We're gonna do, actually we did another one the other day that was 45 minutes of Tabatas. So that's just to give you an example. But it was just go, go, go for 45 minutes. If you've got 5 to 7 hours a week to dedicate to it, that's where you can throw in your steady state cardio, right? Whether you're parking yourself on a treadmill or you like to go for walks or whatever it might be. And of course that does lead to you got more than 7 hours a week, throw in the lifestyle activities. Now I always encourage people to be active and enjoy. Asheville's a beautiful place, so get out and hike, do all those things. But if you've only got 3 hours a week to dedicate to exercise, maybe right now don't go hiking. Go lift some weights. Pick up something heavy, walk around the room with it a few times. You know, you can start seeing progress. Again, this is when we're talking about trying to lose weight. You know, if you're at a healthy weight and you just want to be active, go do that. But if you're trying to lose a significant amount of weight and body fat, don't focus on the lifestyle activities right now. Let's focus on the strength training because that's what's going to get you the results. And then I always do the simple KISS rule. Keep it simple. We all know what that, sweetie, there you go. Just because, you know, it can get very complicated. So again, keep it simple. Just go by these kind of rules and ideas. So that's really, I mean, you know, that's kind of how we design programs for people. We kind of look at, you know, how many hours a week can they dedicate to, whether it's gym time or outside time, whatever they're doing, and we try to structure it around that. So, you know, that's kind of our prescription, like I said, for success. And the last thing I wanted to do is kind of give you guys an idea of why I do this. Obviously, helping people get fit seeing people be empowered and feel stronger and feel better about themselves is a wonderful reason to do what I do, and I absolutely enjoy that. But there's more to it than that. I've worked at big box gyms, I've worked at other places around town. I constantly found myself being frustrated by the lack of knowledge, by the trainers there, by the sleazy salespeople that were there, the very poor environment, dirty gyms, all those kind of things that just really frustrated me. And just the lack of professionalism and the lack of empathy that people had for the people coming through that door. It just amazed me. So I created Inspire, and it's right here, you can just read it, to set the standard for what a gym should be. It should be a place where people feel comfortable working out and achieving results in a supportive atmosphere with a team of trainers that care immensely about every single person that walks through the door and always puts their members first. It's not about the trainers, it's about you. It's about what you're trying to accomplish that day. I tell my trainers all the time, you don't have a bad day in the gym. You go home and you have your bad day if you want, but you don't have it here because these people walk in the door, they need you, right? You're there, we're there for you. So our goal is to be the best part of our members' day every day. You should walk out of our gym smiling. You might be limping out or you might be crawling out, but you ought to be smiling because you had a good time. And our mission is to change the way that fitness is done. I want to make sure, I would love it if every gym in town kept these kind of standards. I wish that was the case, and I would encourage them all to do so. So that's kind of the idea. Does anybody have questions for me today about any of the stuff that you just saw? Any questions? Yes?
Is somebody guiding you through those circuits?
Obviously in our gym, yes. You're never in there working out, by yourself. Certainly people who have memberships at the gym are more than welcome to come and do workouts on their own, but the idea when we're taking them through a strength training workout, there's absolutely a coach there making sure you're doing it correctly. Great question. Anybody else?
And also along with that, I have to modify about 80% of what I do, and they've been great with working with me, and after working with them for several months now,
yeah.
I've actually been able to restart a dance class. So it's segued, and that's just been really beneficial.
And I love seeing when members take on new things like that, because when you told me that day, that was just wonderful to hear, because it's just to know that you're able to go do something you enjoy now that maybe you wouldn't have been confident doing 6 months ago. I love that. That's why I do this. Any other questions?
Where's your gym?
Where is my gym? It is on, it's at 554 Riverside Drive. So it's just a few minutes from here, kind of towards UNCA on Riverside Drive down there, a little bit north of the Art District. Great question. I should probably put that in my presentation. It may be like right here, right on the bottom of that.
And how can people reach you, Keith?
Well, you can go to inspirepersonalfitness.com. Also, my email address is keith@inspirepersonalfitness.com. And the phone is 258-1066. And I do have Inspire Personal Fitness. I did at least have that much. Any other questions? Thank you guys, I appreciate it.